Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoachCom, and in this video we're going to take a look at some more of the stocks that were in play today. Okay, so first up we're going to take a look at Canopy Growth. This is ticker symbol TWMJF on the over-the-counter markets. Also, it trades under ticker symbol WEED on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Ticker symbol WEED. And so it closed up, or it's up 23% this week. I'm going to show you a weekly chart in this video. So yeah, so this has been a huge week for Canopy Growth. It's pushing higher. As you can see over here, it broke above 35, 34 to make a new all-time high. And notice RSI is way up here at 92, so this is at very frothy levels. This is a current level where it's had peaks in the past. If you look down here, this top that happened back in November of 2016 was at a similar level up here, and so yeah, and it's cruising in the power zone up here on Fasto. It's a multi-week run here. There's 4 white candles in a row. They're riding EMA 4 support higher. This week's candle is pushing above that upper Bollinger Band. This is a blue sky breakout. Okay, so if the candles do pull back, what you want to see is EMA 4 at 27 support hold. As long as that's holding, the signal is to keep riding. Notice the last close below EMA 4. You have to go way back here on the chart. I mean, this is like right at EMA 4, but you know, it's way back here in May. You know, ever since the EMA 4 turned into support in June, the candles have been riding that level higher. As long as they're riding that level higher, if you're a longer term investor, the signal is to keep riding. If there's a close below, that's when you could see some consolidation and it could pull back and you could find lower entry points. So right now it's on cruise control on the blue sky breakout. We'll see if it can keep pushing higher. You know, it's going to be that close below EMA 4 for the week that's going to be the red flag that it's actually cooling down. Notice that the volume has been increasing as it's heading higher. Okay, let's look at Lbcc. This is Long Blockchain Corporation. Okay, so it closed up 19% today. So it was a nice percentage gain. You do have RSI at 60, so there's plenty of room to run until that 70 overbought level. Fasto had a bullish crossover. Notice the black line crossed the red line to the upside, and now it's above 50. You want to see it stay above 50. So there was a bounce off of EMA 13 support down here at 4.99. It held that $5 support zone, and then it got back above EMA's 4 and 8 today. That was very bullish. Notice how EMA 4, the pink line, failed to cross over the lime line to the downside. That's good. You want to see the pink line stay above the lime line if you're a bull. This is an indecision candle. This is basically a doji today. It needs to break above the closing price here on January 3rd, and then above this closing price here on the 4th, and then you have the closing price back here on the 21st, up here close to $7. Once it can get above 7 and turn that level into support, that's when you're going to see it break out higher. If it struggles between the 6 and 7 resistance zone, you could see more consolidation. So right now, it needs to get above this 620 resistance level. Notice there was big volume behind the move today, so even though it was an indecision candle, you know, this could be loading before the next push higher, so we'll see if it can break resistance. Okay, let's look at UGAZ here. This is natural gas bull 3 times, and so this is long natural gas, and so basically it's been working on a new uptrend. It closed up 13% today. It's back above the middle Bollinger Band at 51. It's in the bull zone here in RSI at 67. Notice the green line plus DI is crossing ADX, or crossing minus DI, the red line, to the upside. That's a signal the bulls are starting to heat up. Okay, so if you notice back here, we did call this day out on the 27th when it closed above the middle Bollinger Band, signaling possible start of a new uptrend. It ran up towards our next target, which was the 50-day simple moving average at currently at 80 and the upper Bollinger Band, where it stalled out, and then it pulled back, and then notice where it held. It held down here at the middle Bollinger Band, down at 62. As long as 62 support is holding, it signals more upside potential. Now, the big level to break here, now that it's back above EMA's 4, 8, and 13, it's above the pink, lime, and orange lines. You want to see it stay above that level. It needs to turn 68 into support, and then you want to see it break back up here to that 50-day simple moving average. 80 is the big level to break on this chart. If it can get above 80, that's going to be a signal it wants to head higher. It did close above the closing price here on the 28th, which was good if you're a bull. If you see it drop down and close below the middle Bollinger Band, it will no longer be a bullish setup. It has to hold that level to get an uptrend going, and it also has to break above 80 and turn it into support to head higher. Okay, let's look at AKER. This is a dead cat bounce play. It did close up 29% today, basically 30%. It is above the oversold level, the 30 oversold level on RSI. Fasto is above 80. Notice that you've got a bullish crossover here on the ADX with plus DI crossing ADX to the upside, and so this channeled out. Notice it was in a nasty downtrend and riding EMA's 4 and 8 resistance lower, failing to get above the dotted purple line, which is the middle Bollinger Band, and then it formed a gap in between the bottom of this candle and the top of this candle. There was it closed here on the 18th, and then on the 19th of December it opened way down here. That creates a big space in the chart. Ever since the 19th of December, notice this very tight channel that it formed. Okay, and then finally here on January 4th, it got above EMA 4, the pink line, and that line has been holding. As long as it's holding currently at 16, then AKER is in play. Notice that the pink line is crossing the lime line to the upside. Okay, so they're pinched at the same level. That's an early reversal signal. There was a close today above EMA 13, the orange line at 18. You want to see that level hold, and now the big level to break is the middle Bollinger Band at 22. If you can get above that level and turn it into support, it could run up here to fill the gap. The top of the gap's up here at about 37. The big move today is above the bottom of the gap. It broke bottom of gap resistance. Notice how it tried to do that on multiple attempts. So today's move is signaling more upside. A break above 22 signals more upside. It could run into the 30s. Fail to break 22, it signals consolidation. If it drops below 16, it's no longer in play. Notice giant volume behind the move today and the recent MACD bull crosses. Also notice that the green dots, parabolic SAR, are coming down fast. Once 29 is hit, they will flip below the candles. Okay, we'll switch gears a little bit. Always showing you charts that are going up. I'm going to show you one here that is going down. This is MYSZ. It's down 39% today. What happened was it had a multi-day run, and so as you can see here, that it had 4 white candles in a row, and then there was there is a gap down here as well. There was a gap, okay, during the run created down here, and so you have a gap down here at $1, and then there's another gap up here between high of day on this candle and low of day on the candle on the 8th, and so that gap filled today. There was a gap down open today. Everybody got punished that held yesterday, and then there was the gap down open. This gap filled, so there's no longer a space in the chart. And there was a close today below EMA 4 at 180. That does signal potential more downside risk. The next key level to hold is down here at EMA 8 at 148. It needs to hold that level. If it drops below, you could see it drop down here to the 200-day simple moving average at 113, or possibly down here to fill the lower gap. Now, if it holds above 180 tomorrow, that would be bullish, and you could see it push back up here, push back higher. It could very well do that. So 180 is the big level. Above 180, then it's in play for getting back in the 2s, and then you want to see it get back above that 300-day simple moving average at 231. If it fails to break that level, it's going to signal consolidation. Okay, let's see here. I don't know why it just did that. Let's check this out one more time. If you look here at the 15-minute chart, you will see how it was running higher, and then it had a gap up open right here, and so there was a space in the chart. Basically, it's between high of day here and low of day. The start of the day here, it came down, filled this gap. And so the candles have worked their way down. They're finding support down here near the close from the 5th. And they're finding support at the 100 simple moving average on the 15-minute chart. Notice that the 50 simple moving average, the green line broke. The candles have been riding EMA 4 resistance lower. So what it needs to do is get above that 181 level. Notice that's 180 again, and then above that middle Bollinger Band at 188. If it can get above both levels, that'll signal that it's back in play. If it can hold those levels, and then it has to get above the 50 simple moving average. Once it's back above the 50 simple moving average, then the chart's bullish, and then it's could break out higher. You could possibly get a trade between 188 and 241. Keep that in mind. If it fails to get above that 100 simple moving average, that's when you can see a drop down here to the 200 and possibly the 300 simple moving average. This could drop all the way down to the 300, and that would fill that gap down there at $1. Keep in mind, gaps always get filled for these penny stocks. Okay, let's look at BUDZ. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. What's a video without some BUDZ and some NUGS? So I'm going to finish it up with a couple of OTC weed stocks. We've got Weed Incorporation, BUDZ. This has got a crazy valuation right now. It keeps pushing higher. It's up 21% right now. It's pretty insane. You know, they're pushing the marijuana sector stocks higher. If you look here, it's trading up here, hitting $15. Yeah, this was just trading at $1 in November. This has just been on an incredible run. Notice how there's big volume up here at the top. You know, they're likely, you know, dumping some shares up here. The big level is right here on January 4th, that closing price. It did close above that level today, so that is signaling that it could break out higher, but it has to stay above. You know, I'm not too, you know, convinced that it can do that. Notice there is a very small gap between high of day on the 8th and low of day today. So high of day yesterday and low of day today, there's a micro gap. They could come down there and fill that gap. If you see it drop below the closing price there on January 4th, that's going to signal that it could possibly you know, take a breather. And then once again, that EMA 4 at 1209. You know, if it breaks below that, you could see it drop down to EMA 8, similar to how it did that. You know, right here, it came down and tested in EMA 8, that lime line, and held. Now, once it breaks below EMA 8, that's when you could say that the chart's really cooling down, and you could see a drop way down to that middle Bollinger Band at 571. So right now it needs to stay above that 1450 resistance level. Okay, let's look at NUGS. Okay, so NUGS has a very similar chart. They're pushing the BUDZ and the NUGS higher. This is Cannabis Strategic Ventures. Yeah, it's up 35% today. You know, another one that had the pullback on the Cole Memo news, and then it found support quickly. I mean, this chart was super bullish before that news came out, and it remained bullish afterwards. You know, it actually just had been parabolic before that. It hit up here in the 7s for this is new all-time highs here, and then it pulls back, and then it bounced, and now it's back above EMA 4. As long as 338 is holding, the chart is bullish. Now you want to see it close above this closing price on January 4th. If it can get above that level, that's going to signal it wants to keep heading higher. It might run up to that and hit a double top. So keep in mind, if EMA 4 at 283 breaks, EMA 8 at 283, that lime line, that's going to be your big signal that it's cooling down, and you could see a drop all the way down to $1 to test that middle Bollinger Band. So that is the downside risk on these stocks, that they keep the uptrend going, but they pull back to that middle Bollinger Band to test support, you know, possibly bounce off of that and head higher. So always be chasing at these higher levels and be ready to lock in those gains if that 15-minute chart starts to break down. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, come check us out at our chat. I will post the link below the YouTube video. Thank you.